So you could use XRP as your native asset if you wanted, and there would be some cases where that would be appropriate. You could have your own native asset. Central bank would be a good example. You could also launch a new cryptocurrency as your native asset if that's what you wanted to do. And I think there are advantages and disadvantages to all of those approaches, but I think one of the things that people don't really recognize is that there are a lot of disadvantages to sort of launching a new native token. The narrative in the space has been like, you want to monetize your project, launch a new token. As someone who's done that, I can tell you that there's a lot of disadvantages in doing that. And one of the biggest ones is distribution is hard. You know, if you give a token to someone, it's a taxable event for them in most of the world that puts selling pressure. And it starts out having no value. So if you earn a native token in a new project, you can't monetize it without cutting the throat of the project. And you get this ecosystem where everybody wants to be the person to sell, but doesn't want to be the one person who's saying that they're selling it. It becomes almost a moral test. But if you use XRP as your native token in a project, instead of launching your own token, you don't have a distribution problem. That sounds like a minus, but it's a plus. And what happens, you say, well, I can't give away the token to incentivize partners. It doesn't work anyway. The people you give away the token to, aren't necessarily incentivized. It just doesn't work as well as you think it is. But what it does do is if you have block producers or validators or whatever it is that like people are supposed to do to make money in your ecosystem, if the revenue that they get is your native token, they basically can't cash out until some indefinite future, and then they can't do it without harming your own project. But if it's XRP, they can cash out immediately. And they're not going to harm your ecosystem because your ecosystem is not going to be affected by it. And they're not going to harm the XRP ecosystem, because if people had to get XRP somehow to get into your ecosystem, and if they sell it, to monetize it, they're not hurting the XRP ecosystem. It's a net zero. So here, you don't have the distribution problem. You don't have the artificial selling pressure that comes. You don't have people who are fighting this sort. You don't have to figure out how to distribute the asset. You don't have selling pressure from people trying to pay their taxes when you give them the asset. I think you can make a case that for most projects, it makes more sense to use an established digital asset. It's easier for people to get, it's easier for people to monetize. And if you think about it just conceptually, like imagine if you had one form of dollars that you use to buy groceries, one form of dollars you get paid in, one form of dollars you pay your rent in, like that's bad. That's like not a healthy ecosystem. So unless you think that your ecosystem can provide everything that everybody wants, you should really try to avoid the multiplication of assets. And again, I don't think it's as effective a monetization tool as whatever value you create, people will pay for, however they're going to pay.